Howdy, everybody. Welcome to StreamYard. Welcome to unsheepyourself.com. And we're here to check a microphone. We're here to see what sounds better, this or that. I got a new, more graphically friendly computer yesterday for editing. We're just going to see if this does good. Jason, how are you? Hey, the goal here is there's Bob Plested. There's the Saxon. So the goal here is we're gonna flight test this mic, which while stylish is not, who gives a shit, right? It's all about how it sounds. And I know that I can't cap it. The real issue here is that I got a new preamp here, the Focusrite Solo, because I heard KFI's John Thomas using one on Skype yesterday, and I said to myself, call John and ask him what in the barreling fuck did he use? And that's what he used. So, but what is the video? What does the sound on the video look like? Are we buffering? Are we scratchy? What do we look like? Check. I'll put some motion in here. That kind of tests the bandwidth. I'll use my special beard comb. No buffering? Really? That's funny. My daughter is on Fortnite. Hey, are you on Fortnite?
No, not right now.
Oh, what are you on?
I'm on Overcooked.
Oh, okay. So we're not having a real throughput problem. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to this mic. So remember how that sounded. And now we're on this mic. How does this sound? Mike. Remember to subscribe. Just click there and you can subscribe. Yeah, I have the gain all the way up. Let me do that. Check. So what sounds better, mic 2 or mic 1? This one is stylish, but if this one sounds better. Fast Food Guido says this one sounds less fuzzy. You mean this one? Mic number 2? Now Jason Armstrong says that this one sounded less fuzzy. I might need to back off of this one. Back, off. Really? Okay, I buy that. All right. Okay, so we're back on this one, boys and girls. We're ready for the big Charleston contest. Hey, did everyone see that really freaky skull cloud that we saw in Tehachapi? If you don't follow me on Instagram, If you go to Brian Does Junk on Instagram, you can check that out. Oh, I got to pick my nose. Woo-hoo-hoo. So you know what I thought I would do tonight is do a fictional sort of after action review from March of 2021, from March of 2021 about the great coronavirus outbreak that devastated Los Angeles in February of 2020. Because I can fold all these things into it, like Eric Garcetti refusing to clear the streets of homeless, and then county workers, county agencies being devastated by corona infection and death, unable to deliver county deliverables to the homeless. The homeless go apeshit. Even though they're infected, they spill out of downtown LA and go into Santa Monica and Pacific Palisades and Hollywood and Beverly Hills. They try to go south into Compton and South LA, but they're met with gunfire. And Eric Garcetti is unwilling to execute the orders of the Trump administration. And in order to show that he's not afraid of a virus, he's conflating viruses with illegal alien with immigration status. He flies to China to shake hands with Chinese authorities, and he on the plane and on the way back, he infects his entire staff. So the deputy, one of the deputy mayors, has to take over. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom does the same thing. He is infected. His lieutenant governor is infected. The president of the Senate and the Speaker of the Assembly are infected. Most of the staff are infected. Most of the California Assembly are affected. So there's nobody able to write gubernatorial emergency orders. So the state is absolutely paralyzed because of political correctness. And then some deep radical who's like eighth in line for the governor's office writes an emergency order where he or she orders the CHP to pull all the California Department of Justice firearm owners lists out and round them up, because people in Orange County and in Antelope Valley and Santa Clarita and other parts of LA where people are not dependent on law enforcement, or law enforcement's broken down, where they're defending themselves. So California authorities round up people who own guns, seeing an opportunity to round people up. They do so. So I don't know. What do you think? Should I do that? I almost thought about pre-recording it today and then playing it as a documentary. A year and a month into the future, and in March of 2021, we have an after action, and starting it off like today, President Trump, now early in his second term, because, by the way, like I say, I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of outcomes and results, but he is going to win. I mean, that's that. But anyway, today, March 8th, 2021, President Trump dedicated the coronavirus memorial from the great coronavirus outbreak of 2020. The memorial, of course, was in downtown LA because Los Angeles suffered the greatest percentage of flu deaths. San Francisco a close second. Epidemiologists credit this lethality to the overall unsanitary conditions of Los Angeles, where typhus and plague had been identified 1 year earlier in 2019. I mean, it fucking writes itself, doesn't it? So anyway, I would like to point out the public health folly of tolerating thousands of vectors or homeless in downtown LA. I mean, if typhus was not the shot across your bow than maybe plague should have been, and increased tuberculosis from illegal aliens. So you have this two-factor thing. You have thousands of unvaccinated people coming up from Central America, and then you have people who are sick and addicted, living in tight quarters in downtown LA. And then you throw into that the guy who got off of Air China and gave the Uber driver the wrong address, and he gets out in Skid Row, you know. So yeah, very much like War of the Worlds, because that is what would happen. And so the armed people, say the people who live far outside of LA, who are willing to shut a gate and lock it, would survive. But I still, because I'm so cynical about the Second Amendment in California, I would still see Gavin Newsom as seeing it as an opportunity to round up guns illegally. But in my scenario, his political correctness overwhelms his hatred of guns, and but his hatred of Trump overwhelms his hatred of guns. And when Trump shuts down the airports, direct flights from China, Gavin Newsom flies up to Vancouver, BC, and gets the last plane out of Canada to China, and then is flown back to the U.S. on a private Gulfstream, probably owned by Jeffrey Eisenberg, you know, or Arianna Huffington. He is already incubating, even though he washed his hands and he did everything before he got on the plane. He's already incubating, and he gives everybody on the Gulfstream 650 the coronavirus. The pilot and co-pilot are particularly susceptible. And within 2 or 3 days of landing at Van Nuys, Arianna Huffington is now incubating. And the fundraiser that Gavin Newsom went to at Gwyneth Paltrow's house turned out to be a disaster, because all these really well-heeled Democrats are now infected. And anyway, it almost, like I say, it almost writes itself. So, ouch. Fast Food Guido is talking about something here. What do you mean? Very akin. I've heard of the It Could Happen Here podcast. And I know that they take weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to produce a podcast. You know, I'm talking about doing this live tonight. So, but I'll check into that. So anyway, what is the final consensus? Mic number 2 or this one? Bruce Wayne says that this has better bass response, but not a problem because I don't have a lot of bass in my voice. So. Let's see. So what's the final answer is this? I'm thinking this. There actually is. I can play with it. Let me do this. Mic gain up, 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 up. That's all the way up. That's 100%. And I start peaking when I go like this. Peak, 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 peaky, peak, peak, Peaky Blinders. So, mic, gain, 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 mic. Alrighty. By the way, I highly recommend, especially if you're left-handed, the Picatinny rail covers. If you have accessorized your M4 or AR-15 or any other weapon with picks, I can't recommend these highly enough. I wish I had invented them, but they're really easy. They just pop on. They have a little channel there, and it goes right in the rail. And then each one of these actually rests so that it's actually flush with the rail, but slightly raised, So the reason is because when you are moving around, sometimes the Picatinny rails have teeth and they'll bite into you. So invest in these. Get them on Amazon. You can get them in dark earth, coyote, olive, or black. Black rifle, black rail covers. No harm, no foul. Real easy. Mike, some like Petros, like yoked. He's yoked. Look at that. He's yoked. By the way, my quest for old guy fitness continues. I'm down to like 221. In large part due to this one thing. If you've never seen one of these, this is called a Bulgarian bag. See, Lucille went at that handle. It has handles all over it, not bill handles, but it has handles all over it, and you can lift it in a variety of positions, and you can just throw it around. And so we have it. My daughter and I, we have it right by the door, and so on the way out or the way in, you pick it up and do 20 quick bicep curls. How about this? Check, check, check. I don't know. Okay, now I'm back. Copy. Check, check, check. Because the window that came up said your browser has muted the mic. So maybe I'm using Opera. If you've ever used Opera, I'm a big fan of Opera because it's a very thin client, and it's Norwegian. If you don't know this, like Google Chrome is a big program, big program. But Opera is a real thin program. But if that just did that, then it might be a problem with Opera. So maybe we'll cut off this stream and we'll come back to you on Google Chrome right about now and broadcast.